What's going on? I'm here back with another Epic 7 video, and today we're going over the balance adjustment preview that's set to drop on June 8th. And so we're looking at a few MLs, a few RGBs, and some 5-star artifacts. So starting off, we are getting buffs to Little Queen Charlotte, which is a Moonlight 5-star unit, as well as Spirit Eye Celine. So both of those ML5 units, we'll see how good their buffs are. We're also getting RGB buffs to Jacko, which is a collaboration unit for Guilty Gear. Now, I think this is the very first time that they've buffed a collab unit outside of the collab, like way outside of the collab, right? They could have buffed her when she dropped or right after she dropped. Summer Break Charlotte is a limited RGB unit, which is getting some buffs. We also have Sharoon and Arunka buffs. We're also getting Assassin Cartuja ML 4-star unit buffs, as well as Wings of Light and Shadow, Sword of Winter Shadow, and Iron Fan. So starting off with Little Queen Charlotte, it looks like the only thing that they did to her was increase her damage against Dark Elementals. Okay. Okay, so this is not good. All right. As much as I like doing big damage, I don't think that's the buff that she needs. I'm fine with her not just one-shotting everything, right? Like, she doesn't need to be Hua-Young. She has a lot in her kit, but the thing is that a lot of people build her slow right now because she needs so many stats everywhere else, right? So maybe they could have given her like a passive that gives her crit, maybe additional healing, maybe like a Durandal, like an increased Durandal, right? So she can take even more turns. So something that will allow her to cleanse herself, even if it's just one debuff, right? When she gets hit with a debuff, you know, she has a built-in one debuff cleanse or something like that, right? Because she just dies to strips, silences, right? Like strip into blind, strip into silence, whatever strips, right? And so that's the thing. So, I mean, is damage good? Yeah, but I think that she could have gotten something else to make her a bit more of an overall like bruiser, right? Spirit Eye Celine, this unit, I liked her from when they first introduced her. I pulled for her, but the biggest thing that kind of triggered me is that her main source of damage was not guaranteed. It was not a 100% chance to use her main source of damage, but now it looks like they're giving her a 100% chance to use Nimble Sword. And so Nimble Sword is her enhanced attack, right? Otherwise, she just like bonks you with the back of her sword and it deals 0 damage. So that's a positive change. Okay, I think that's good. We'll see if this really makes any kind of change with her. I think that she's still not in a good spot, maybe for GVG, things like that. But at least her Nimble Sword now is a 100% chance. Jacko is getting some buffs. These buffs here, I mean, I think they could have done something like this when she was first released. So after people tested her out, you know, they could have seen that, hey, you know what, maybe this unit isn't really doing what they need to be doing, right? She always did a lot of damage, and it looks like they are increasing the damage that she's dealing. So that's going to be pretty nutty. She, like, when I tested her out, when she first dropped, she did a lot of damage. Okay. She did a lot of damage, but now she's getting an increase of CR by 20% to all allies when an enemy is defeated. And her Chain of Charon, which is, I think, built into her passive or her S3, it before has a 25% chance to stun the target for 1 turn, but now it looks like they're adding additional debuffs, so cannot buff, decrease a chance, and restrict on the target for 1 turn. And so Chain of Charon does activate on the back row ally, so that's going to be kind of interesting. You know, it's more than just stun, right? Like, you wait for the stun and you don't get the stun because it's 25% chance, right? But now it's inflicts a random debuff, which is pretty crazy because now, to me, that says guaranteed, right? There's no percentage When there's no percentage, that means it's guaranteed to land, right? So now it's either going to be a stun, unbuffable, decrease hit chance, or restrict. Would it be too broken to put a defense break in here? Maybe. So that's kind of interesting, right? Summer Break Charlotte is the limited RGB unit featured on this buff. And this one, it looks like they are giving her an increased CR when she does the changed attack. So it's giving her the ability to move faster on the CR bar. They're also changing her passive. Before it increased critical hit chance by 20%. Now it's going all the way up to 30%, which is pretty crazy. And I think that was one of my gripes with her is she's so hard to build. She needs so many stats. She needs a lot of crit chance, a lot of HP, a lot of defense. She needs a lot of attack and crit damage and some speed. It's very difficult to build her. So another 10% crit. I don't know. We'll see how much more I'm willing to potentially use her and potentially give her some gear. But it looks like she's gaining 60 fighting spirit at the start of the first battle. And she's giving herself enhanced dual attack from the get-go, right? So that means that she's going to be able to S1 AoE spam from the very first turn. It's not going to be a ramp up thing. So I think that's pretty good, right? They're giving her extra crit chance, the ability to ramp up from turn 1, right? And her S3, I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know about the dispelling all buffs thing. I don't know about it moving to a skill that you actually have to press, because before she would consume fighting spirit and cleanse herself and then give herself attack buff, right? But they did remove that. So they removed her full cleanse and then giving herself attack buff. And they removed that and kind of put something like that in her S3. So her S3 now dispels all debuffs and it penetrates defense by 50%. So I don't know if that's going to be worth the removal of the attack buff. And what happens when she's silenced, right? You can't cleanse her debuffs. Before, if she was silenced, stunned, provoked, whatever the case might be, and she had enough focus or she had enough fighting spirit, she would just cleanse herself and then you could S3, right? So I don't know about that. But the penetrates the target's defense, I think she's going to be able to deal a really good amount of damage, and we can potentially finally take her out of pen set memes, right? But next up we have Sharoon. Sharoon is one of those units where, you know, I think she is good. I really like her kit, but it's just so difficult to use her. And the thing about using her is you need effectiveness and 15%. But it looks like they are adjusting her kit just a little bit. And her thing is that she reduces buffs, hits you with the venoms and injures you. And so before her passive here at the end of the turn grants a random buff and a barrier to the ally except for the caster with the highest attack for 2 turns. And so this goes to the highest attack. The random buffs could be anything from increased attack, increased crit damage, but now it's increased speed and immunity. So she has the potential to give immunity to the unit with the highest attack, which is interesting. May You Perish. This is the AoE. So this is her S3. This attacks all enemies, decreasing buff durations. Before it was by 1 turn, now it's by 2 turns. And then she hits you with the venom and increases her CR by 50%, right? So I think that's pretty rough, right? Because now all units that give immunity for 2 turns might be destroyed. Doesn't this counter like LRK, right? Because he gives a 2-turn immunity buff, right? Is it 2 or 3? I don't own LRK, so but I know that he gives AoE immunity. But you know, any unit that gives 2 turns, right? 2-turn immunity, watch out. Next up, we got Arunka. Arunka, for the most part, I think they released her in a bad spot right after they nerfed Hwayong to the ground. And Arunka just didn't live up to the hype. She looks really cool, but you need barriers in order to inflict a lot of damage. And then even then, she doesn't get the kills most of the times. But now it looks like when an enemy is defeated, it resets the cooldown of her skill. Before, I think it would inflict extinction. Yeah, no, it still inflicts extinction. So runs up to the enemy to attack. When enemy is defeated, inflicts extinction and resets the cooldown. But that means that you still have to get the kill, right? And her biggest thing is she didn't kill. They also are removing her attack buff. Before, she would give herself an attack buff and then hit with the S3. Now they removed her attack buff and they're allowing her to deal more damage against units that have barriers. So yeah, I don't think this is going to be good. I mean, this damage increase has to be equivalent, if not more, than the attack up. Okay, then the attack up. Otherwise, she's still going to deal poo-poo damage, right? Assassin Cartuja, the ML 4-star for this one, just evasion, Mr. Evasion. You can call him 70% evasion, right? Increasing evasion by 50% and then giving everybody 20% evasion. He's giving himself effectiveness now on the imprint concentration, and his EE is giving him 20% evasion. So Mr. 70% evasion, and yeah, let's have a good time with that, right? But now with the new last piece Karen, you know, yeah, might not be too bad. Wings of Light and Shadow. This is the 5-star artifact. I believe this is Ilanov's artifact. Before, it was bad. You have to use single attacks only and then increase damage, blah, blah. Now, it increases critical hit chance by 15%. So just base 15% crit chance, which had before, but now when attacking. So that means AoE skills, okay? AoE skills, not necessarily single skills. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why I never use this artifact, because it always has to be on a single attack. So that means that, for example, on Ilanov, this would not work on the S3, which is kind of annoying. But I mean, it might be interesting with bruiser units, right? Bruiser units. I'm interested to see how that works. Sword of Winter Shadow. This one was also, I think, kind of bad. After using a non-attack skill, has a 50 to 100% chance to remove 15 souls from the enemy. But now you actually gain 10 souls and you remove 10 souls. And you can only do it once. So that's pretty interesting. You get 10 souls, and then you get to steal some, right, from the enemy. Iron Fan. This is one of the biggest meme artifacts in the game. Damage dealt increases up to 32% when attacking ice elemental targets. Now, after using an attack that targets all enemies except for a basic skill, increases CR of the caster by up to 30%. Can only be activated once per turn. So I don't know. After using an attack that targets all enemies, gives himself a CR push of 30%. I mean, I'm thinking like limited Bologna, right? Maybe Seaside Bologna, right? Giving herself a CR push every time that she AoEs, because she has AoE skills, right? Two AoE skills, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this makes any kind of difference. Especially because you have to use this on a unit that uses nothing but AoE skills. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But there is going to be a recall for Iron Fan. You'll be able to get your enhancements, any EXP stuff that you put into that, you'll be able to get it back. But for the most part, that's it. That's it. I don't know about this one. I think that, they were moving in a good direction, with the prior balance update. And then this one, I don't know. I feel like they kind of dropped the ball. I mean, Spirit Eye Celine, that's a little tiny buff, right? Like, it literally doesn't do anything except make her work like she's supposed to work. LQC, I was hyped for LQC buffs, but I don't think increased damage is it. I really don't. Give her some way to cleanse herself, at least one debuff. Something else that can allow us to build her slightly different, right? The reason A Ravi is such a powerhouse unit is because she has a lot built into her kit where she doesn't really need as much support. LQC needs a lot of support in order for you to be able to run her effectively. Give her effect resistance. I don't know. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like always, if you happen to enjoy the video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hey, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.